So, hot off the press, PayTech and Codat have just announced a new partnership which brings a joint solution to market for issuing banks to collect and analyze spend files. So, Vincent, maybe you could talk a little bit about the specific capabilities that the PayTech and Codat have as part of this joint solution, and how do you complement each other in that overall offering?
Yeah, the simple way of the complement is that we're, Codat is providing the syringe and getting the health data out of thousands of customers for banks. And we then take that data and we can quickly diagnose the best ways to pay those suppliers for those buyers based upon the bank's payment products. And really what we're able to do is help them manage what is otherwise just left unmanaged, and to grow that portfolio by spend, but also to provide value to their customers by actually helping them with meaningful things. And I think that's also the really interesting future part that we'll be doing together, is being able to be more consultative with some of the data that can go back to the bank. So yeah, we'll solve some of those payment problems, but what other things are we seeing in the data? So that's part of the future. But initially, it's going to be that quick diagnosis on scale.
Absolutely. Two words that come to mind, which almost seem contradictory: automation and personalization. So automation meaning, how do I automate that data collection, insights, proactive advice that I might want to provide? Personalization, how do I personalize what my advice or payment solutions I might be providing to that end customer? So the automation makes it feasible for the bank to economically serve. The personalization makes it a great experience, both for the banker and for their client.
So, Joey, maybe you can talk us through how issuers actually are starting to already solve for their unmanaged book by combining Codat and PayTech.
Yeah, absolutely. Together, we're working with some of the largest banks and issuers in the world. And what we're starting to see is banks connect to their customers. I think fundamentally, that's the biggest shift that we can offer in the market, is connecting your customer's ERP to the bank so that you're getting and pulling the real-time data, the comprehensive data on their payments and the associated spend file. So we're pulling that information, we're providing it to PayTech and OPTIMA, and they're provided the analytics and insights on how to take action on that data. So Vince can talk a little bit more around what we're doing with some live customers.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things is that we're finding that banks are sort of having a discussion which they haven't quite had before, because for obvious reasons that they weren't managing. And they're asking, well, how many suppliers would a company of this size have? And how many might we look to be having on a card program? And interestingly, one of the banks that we're working with now, we know one of their sales relationship account managers who's now been specifically put into this area to manage it. And that's really good, because it's going to be a kind of mega manager who's managing actually the data, working with us to get to thousands of customers, whereas before she was only working with like 20 customers. And so that's quite a powerful message that's kind of reverberating through the bank, is redeployment of a resource to an area where there's much, much more spend potential for this individual person than maybe in the role they were before. And it's that dialogue now with the bank, with Codat, ourselves together, to say what data were they getting before from their customers, and now what are we looking at to meaningfully drive that base?
And what would you say is just the general percentage difference of data? So if I'm a bank and I'm traditionally looking at my unmanaged business, and I'm sending them a request to share information, historically, what have you seen? Like what percentage of data are they getting? And now what percentage of data are they getting with the combined solution?
Okay, I mean, this very much sort of relates to some stuff we've looked at in the past, very interestingly, which is banks have not been very good at getting data, because they haven't really got anything to show the customer. It's just, give me some data and then you can spend on my product, right? And so people are a little bit skeptical of that. I mean, there might still be a benefit, but instead, if you show someone a tool as well and they can see that, oh, that's what I could do, or here's my business case, and now I'll give you my data. Two things happen. Number one, you get higher levels of data. And to give you some numbers, so the typical response rate we see from banks, they just ask customers, can we have a file? About 5% or less.
5%
or less. And that's where you're actually speaking to the customer, not if you're sending out an email going to thousands and thousands. If you then show them something, you can get to 50, 60, 70% of the customers. And the quality of the data is much better. Another important thing is, and an interesting dialogue with the bank is, should there be a template? Which probably should be, to make it a little bit easier. But at the same time, if the customer's got other data points that you can get, that Codat can get through their accounting platform,